bit different from what you were previously, seeing. But nevertheless, the first thing you need to know with digital is that, well, on an analog board, you have a channel strip, and it goes from gain to EQ to your monitors to pan to the mute buttons and the fader, typically in that order. And you had an Allen Heath, so it should be about like that. But on digital, you only have one channel strip, and your channel strip is consisted of this area here. Okay, so the channel strip affects any channel that you have selected. So each channel, as they're laid out from here to here, each channel has a select button, a solo button, a mute, and a fader. Okay, so when you select, you're now selecting that channel to use the channel strip with. Okay, and then it also indicates up here in the corner of the screen what channel you have selected, and this is all the parameters for the channel strip. So it's more of a visual thing. You can actually see what you're doing when you turn a knob now. Whereas before, you turn an EQ knob and you could hear it, but you couldn't see it. So now, if I was select channel 1, and if I was to change an EQ, you can see it on the screen. Okay. So to start with the channel strip, basically, every channel is the same. So we're going to go through the channel strip, and you'll know that any channel you have selected, what I'm about to tell you will work on every channel. Okay. So first of all, you select the channel you want to tamper with, and you would have that person check the microphone. In this case, I'm going to jump down to this layer just because it has my iPod plugged into it, so we can actually see a channel working. So the first thing you would want to do is select the channel. Okay, now what that does is that turns the channel strip on for that channel only. Okay, we want to solo that channel, and what that does is it does two things. When you solo a channel, it sends only that channel to the headphone jacks. There is a headphone jack on each side of the mixer in the handles. Okay. So you can do two headphones at the same time. Okay. So when you solo it, again, it sends it to the headphones. The other thing that it does is it sends only that channel to this solo meter. The solo meter is there to indicate how much gain that channel has. So if you have somebody singing into a microphone or playing a guitar or whatever, you want to solo that channel, and when you change the gain knob, the gain is the same knob that you had at the top of your mixer before, it changes how much level
So
you're sending that channel.
we should hear the headphones, right?
Yeah.
Brett, you're blocking the camera.
Oh,
Yeah, if the headphones,
yeah.
you see I can change the gain, that changes. Okay. So ideally, in an ideal situation, you would solo, have the person play, and you want to get it up to the -18 point where the color starts to change. You just want it tapping that. That's going to give you your optimal gain setting for any microphone out there. As long as they're giving you good input, singing into the microphone, playing the guitar, kicking the kick drum, whatever it may be, as long as you're just tapping that, you should be good. Okay. Once you've done that, you would unsolo, and then you can either unmute if it's muted, or bring the fader up. Now in this case, this is a stereo channel. We have them linked together. One side's left and the other side's right. So when we bring this up, obviously we hear the main speakers. Okay. So we have a bunch of functions on every single channel. And actually, this is a bad example. I shouldn't say it's on every channel. It's on only the microphone channels. So if we're selected on a channel, and we look at the channel strip, you have gain. We know what that is now. We have 48-volt phantom power. So if you have a condenser microphone.
That was the auxiliary channel.
That was.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the aux in 5 and 6, which is your iPad connection right here. Okay. So to go through the channel strip, you have gain. You have 48-volt phantom power for condenser microphones. You have a phase reversal. You would use a phase reversal if, say, you had a microphone upside down on a drum kit, like maybe you're micing the hi-hat from the bottom, or you had two microphones on one drum. Say a lot of people do kick and snare, or kick in and out, or snare top and bottom. If you do something like that, you would invert the bottom microphone. So the microphone elements move in the same direction then, because one is flipped over the other way. Okay, so that's what that is. So then low cut is, it gets rid of the bass. It's like a roll-off. You had a high-pass filter on your old board, you push the button. Same thing here. You can turn it on, but now it's variable before you didn't have a knob. You just had a button that said everything from 80 hertz down is gone. And that's what that
And
does.
will it show you that?
It does. So if you turn it on, you can see
Okay.
that it dips out that low frequency. Okay?
Okay.
And then, of course, you have the on and off. Now, next we have a view button. And you'll notice on this mixer, the view button gets used a lot. View is in every single section of this mixer. They're all over the place. Okay? What that does, there's another one there, it zooms in on that specific device. So if you want to zoom in and just look at the EQ and the high pass filter, you hit view and it takes you to a screen that only shows those items. Okay, and then if you touch view again, it takes you back out. So then the next thing we have is a gate. You guys know what a gate is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't explain it, but you can turn it on and off. You can change the threshold. You can see it there. If I turn it off, the red will go away. Turn it back on, here it comes. If you hit view, it zooms in on the gate and it gives you more controls. The extra controls are down here on the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
These knobs are obviously knobs, but they're also buttons. You push in on them to initiate things. So for instance, if I want to turn the active light on and off, it's the same button as here.
Oh, okay.
So the knobs do other things than, you know. And then you have the ability to change it from an expander to a gate to a ducker to different things. Which is you probably won't use that much. You might use gates on drums, but I definitely wouldn't use them on vocals or guitars or anything. So then next we have a compressor. You guys know what that is? Kind of the opposite.
Okay.
So a compressor is you set the threshold to a certain level and you say, you can't go past this level. Or if you do, I'm going to bring your level back down by a certain ratio, and you set that ratio.
It does the bottom end too, doesn't it, at the same time?
Yeah, it does everything, yeah, like you have, well, let's see. So,
If someone's screaming, it'll stop that.
Or if
right,
you got like a loud furnace or something going on, you wanna cut that bottom end noise out.
that would be the gate.
That's the
That would be the gate, yeah. You set the threshold of the gate to say you have to meet my threshold before I open up the microphone.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you got noise, like some people, like Apple computers are pretty inherent with noise when you use the headphone jacks. So sometimes you get a buzz, and what people will do is they'll turn the gate on and set the threshold real low so the buzz doesn't come through the PA. But the compressor is kind of the opposite. It sets a level and it says you can't go past that level, and if you do, I'm going to drag your level back down by however many decibels I set the ratio to. Now here you only have a threshold knob and an on-off button. Here is where the ratio and things are, so you can see how it changes the attack. And there's attack, release, hold. There's all kinds of things to play with in the compressors. So you have that option. Then the next area is the equalizer, which is probably what you're going to use the most of. So let's zoom in on that. And now you have 4 bands of EQ. You select the band you want to play with, and you have a Q function, a frequency, and a gain for that band, for each band. Okay, so if I want to mess with the high mid, I can raise the gain, I can move the frequency around, I can make it narrow or wide, okay, and I can select the next band, and I can do the same thing. Move it around, do whatever I want with it. The bottom band, same thing, you know.
So it's not is it necessarily a low if you can move
It's not
it all the way?
necessarily a low.
Okay.
Yeah, they should have just put band 1 through 4, in my opinion, because you can move it all the way from one end to the other, so it's not really low. Again, when you zoom in, you get more function down here, too. So one of the things you can do from these buttons is there's a reset all. And that will probably come in handy at some point. So what that does is that clears the EQ altogether. So we push to reset, and then it's going to ask us, do we want to reset yes or no?
Okay.
Yes or no is here. You'll probably use these buttons a lot.
Okay.
Yes, we want to reset it, so
Okay.
that just resets it back to 0. Now, within each band, you have different modes. So if I'm in a low mid, for instance, and I bring that down, now I think it's 4. Well, in this case, there's only 2. So there's very fine and parametric EQ. So you have 2 different EQs. They sound slightly different. Okay. The lower bands have more. They have they have a low shelf, the 2 parametrics, and they have a low cut. So there's different modes for each band. Okay, so something else to play with. And then we reset again. Then the next section is your monitor sends or bus sends. I prefer this method for most churches to send to the monitors rather than, I'm sure you guys have seen where you can run the monitors on the faders.
Right.
I don't like that because if you're not used to digital and you go into the monitor, what they call flip to fader mode, so you flip into, you turn the faders into your monitor sends, you might forget that you're in monitors and you go to make a change and you're actually changing the monitor when you think you're changing the house. So I prefer that you do the monitors from here, but it depends on your
Well, that'd be just like
level.
we do analog, right?
Right, it's
now,
exactly the
so
same
that
thing. It
would be-
doesn't change anything. So
Yeah,
let's
so-
get out of that view. So now we go to the monitors. The monitor bus, there's 16 of them. They're all over here. You can zoom in, you can see them this way. The first 8, and these are adjustable, you can change them, but the first 8 are post fader, or I'm sorry, they should be pre-fader. I don't know why it's saying post fader like that. Oh, I know what it is. So the first 8 are pre-fader and the last 8 are post fader. So the way this works is, do you guys know what pre and post are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you select 1 through 4, then these knobs become the levels for the monitors 1 through 4. If you select 5 through 8, now they become 5 through 8,
Okay.
all the way down to 16. Okay. When you bounce between them, you can visually see the different indications. So you know where you are. That's something that people don't really get used to right away.
And those are monitors, because that's how we set up 4 monitors.
Correct. So, for instance, if I go to my channel that I'm playing my iPod through and I select that channel and I go to 1, that's monitor 1. Monitor 2, 3, and 4.
Now, if we have that all the
And
way down,
you can actually do it from here too.
You
right?
can.
if we have it all the way down, can they turn it up because they're going in air?
We're not even on the in-ear.
Okay, it's a whole different
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
That's
it's a
just
whole
the-
different
the
deal.
wedges.
Just the way it's
Yeah, we're
set up.
just doing the wedges right
Right.
now.
Yeah, so this is just the wedges, just the monitor wedges. So I will tell you that 1 through 4 is your monitor wedges. 5 through 8, I have to remember, 8, channel 8, or monitor bus 8 is the recording. That would go to your camera.
Okay.
And what else was it?
The-
It goes to the camera and the USB.
Right.
9 through 12 does nothing. There's nothing plugged into those. 13 through 16 are your effects sends. So if you wanted a reverb, for instance, like if I select this and send it here, I have to make sure everything's turned on. Oh, they're post fader. So you can see it comes back to my effects channels when I turn that up. And you can hear the effect. That's a reverb. I don't know what that is, but nevertheless, right. So that's what that last group of
Okay.
buttons is. Keep in mind that if you're down here and you zoom out and go back in, it still stays where you were. Even if you jump channels, it still stays there.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to remember, if you want to mess with the monitors, you got to go back to that first group of 4. So then the next section, you asked about subs earlier. This is where this is. So you select the channel. Obviously, we're messing with our bus sends. So this button assigns that channel, the channel you have selected, to the main outputs, the stereo bus, they call
Okay.
it, the left-right. So if I depress this, I lose audio.
Okay.
Okay.
That assigns that channel to the main speakers. That should be on every channel, technically.
Okay.
The only time you would turn it off is in the situation of your click track. Granted, your click track, you're probably never going to raise the fader in the house because you don't want it the click track to be heard in the house. If somebody accidentally was to do that, you could disengage this button, so even if they push the fader up, you're not going to hear it in the house. So that's kind of the purpose of that.
Okay.
Next is the pan, left and right. You
Yep.
hear the difference.
Yep.
And then here's your sub level. Mono bus is what your subs are hooked to. You can engage that and turn the level up to 0. We zoom in, you can see that's the mono bus right there. See, we have no sub now.
Okay.
Just turn it up. You can go beyond 0, but that's typically the setting is 0. You can turn it off.
So that's basically like on analog, it's the same spot as 0
Now
Right.
on ours.
Right, correct.
that's post fader.
Right,
So
correct.
we bring the faders down, we lose the subs in that channel.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, now the board can also be set up so that when you move the main fader, the sub fader comes down with it. Right now
Okay.
it's not. So right now if I played something,
So we don't have a fader for the subs.
you do,
We
you
do.
do. I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, if this is up, right now if I turn the mains down, you'll still hear the sub,
Oh, okay.
okay? But I'll show you where that is
Okay.
shortly.
Just out of curiosity, the right meter,
It's because I'm selected
Oh,
here and
got
we're
it.
panned hard left.
okay, got
So
it.
if I select this one, it'll reverse,
Okay,
because it's a stereo pair.
okay.
You
Got it.
can't select two things at the same time.
Okay.
Oh, the
Okay.
middle's, okay, I see.
Middle's
The
mine.
middle's mono. Yeah, you can't select two things because you only have one channel strip and one screen.
Right.
So you couldn't select two things at once.
Right, okay.
All right. So then the next thing we want to go to is this section over here. DAW remote doesn't work for you guys. It's for recording software if you're using the desk to record. So obviously we have layers because I've showed you that. First layer is 1 through 16. And we pretty much, I think we have things labeled right. We haven't line checked anything, so hopefully it's all in the right place. But that's what that is. So then the second layer is 17 through 32. Third layer is where your 1/4" jacks come in, or your stereo pairs. Now, look at this. You see how you've got gate, compressor, EQ, the bus sends, and all that fancy stuff on a regular channel. If you look at one of these channels, you lose a lot.
Okay.
You only get EQ, you don't have a gate, you don't have a compressor. So those are things that you have to keep in mind
Okay.
when plugging stuff in.
Which you shouldn't really need.
You shouldn't. That's why they don't offer it. It saves DSP and it allows them to do other things with the freed up CPU usage. So yeah, these are connected to your 1/4" inputs in the back, except for this last pair is connected to this USB stick. The USB stick, I probably should have went over that already, but what it does is it does a couple things. It will take your files from the desk and you can store them on a USB stick so that you could take it and plug it into another x32 and load your file into another x32. The other thing it does is it records and plays back. So if you push this, it takes you into the recorder.
Cassette.
Right. Yeah. And actually, it's kind of funny.
I like it.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
I'm gonna
Google it.
I'm gonna change something here real fast just for showing you
I have
guys.
played cassettes.
Okay.
Not that good.
So
Antique shop?
right now it's set up to record your left and right output. So you'll see that the meters work.
Okay.
And if you like the cassette player, you're gonna love this. If you hit record, it actually moves.
Yes!
And it puts the file name, which is the time and date stamp.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
On the cassette.
That was worth the price of the whole thing.
That's a selling point.
But you know what? The tape never moves. It's like infinite.
Darn.
It always stays in the same place.
Those are
So-
real ones I never.
So right now it's recording, and you can see where it's recording because the access light is lit.
Okay.
You can leave that screen and it'll record in the background, and the indicator is this red dot showing you you're recording
Okay.
to the
Now, how
USB.
did we start the recording?
You hit view, oops, and you hit the record button.
Okay,
You just push in on it. When you want to stop it, you'll stop. It'll put the track file there. When you stop, it creates another track. So if I was to hit record again,
Let's start a new
it's
one.
going to start a new one. If I stop, you should have, it'll compile them in a little bit, but yeah, there it goes. So it shows you the list. Now,
There's a delay.
It probably
When you-
took a
when
while
you
to
stop
master
it.
the last recording.
yeah, it has to buffer.
Just like our other thing did.
Yeah, it's like a computer essentially.
Yeah.
So it has to buffer what it just recorded, and then it'll throw the file up there.
Okay.
So yeah, there is a little bit of a delay. And actually, you can see it's when the access light goes out. So if I'm recording now and I stop, when this light goes out, that name will pop up over there.
Okay. Oh, there it goes.
So now we can play back from here as well.
Okay.
So I'll bring my iPod down, and we go over here and we want to select a track. We'll select the first track, and we'll hit play. When we do that, it returns to this USB channel. So, of course,
If you hit it harder, it works better.
right, we didn't record very long.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
It'd be pretty neat, we could do, when you guys are practicing and then play it back for you and come out here and listen to yourself.
I heard that you can record the band on this mixer, and then you could come in like another day of the week and remix it and like do the EQ and everything.
Yeah,
That's
you
probably
can.
a different feature.
you can.
You just probably plug a computer in, is what you gotta do.
Right. Yeah, so it's USB.
Okay.
It'll do 32 tracks via USB, and you have to have a recording software to do it.
Okay.
So USB out of the back and a computer with recording software, and you can.
Any idea
So
on,
we
how-
can't currently do that.
any idea on how big a USB we should be, how much room those
I wouldn't go
files
more than
take?
64 megabytes. That'll hold quite a bit. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay, that one's only 16. I may have to get another one then.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. It doesn't matter. I don't know how long it's WAV file.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if you look it up online, there'll be a conversion to tell you 16 megabytes.
Oh, so is the
at-
file size just the recording, or is it the other information from the mixer?
It's just the recording when you're using the recorder.
Oh, okay.
But then I'm going to show you how to save your
Save the
files.
Save the
That way,
files.
if this one blows up and we get
Files
another
should be,
one,
Right.
Because a
just
couple
throw
of
that back
sermon
on.
files in WAV should be way less than a 16 gig would be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
Like I
now you said
16 should
gig
last
and you said 16 meg.
Or I meant gig.
Okay, that's all right.
I
I kind of
I
figured
thought
you
you said
did
64.
That's what I would get is a 64 gig.
64 gig.
And that'll last you.
how
Yeah.
big is the camera
I'm
one?
about to ask my age, when I was freshman.
The
so-
camera
Oh,
one,
that's
Just a little
video.
one.
Yeah,
Alright,
that's
that's-
got video on it too.
Yeah,
probably.
that's,
the
that
one that
one-
records here is 2 gig.
That's-
But that records an MP3 at 192.
Oh, see, this is an
A WAV
MP3.
file's
WAV file
more
is like 4
bigger.
times the size of an MP3.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm sure if you look it up online, you
Yeah,
could
that's fine.
tell.
Well,
Just
I
say
mean-
WAV file.
I think he's saying that would last a really long time.
I
If I
think-
took the sermon off every single week,
Right.
one
Yeah.
and a half is probably plenty.
Yeah, right. If you got a 64, you could leave it in there for a year probably and have a year's worth of stuff.
That's what I figured. I was like, that should really hold
We
a
need
lot
more
of
than,
sermons.
we need more than one.
Well,
So that's everything from here over on the board. You guys
okay.
copy?
The only
Got it.
thing,
It's been a month, 2 months.
this is this is USB to the mains.
Right.
That's the only thing that's for.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, that's an internally fed from here. You cannot plug in anything into this channel.
Okay.
And
It's just
you
internally
got,
patched.
that's, bus 8, right?
The recording, yeah, is bus 8.
We're pulling off of bus 8.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, so that's everything here as far as buttons go. Now, if you look at a channel, you can see that there's tabs at the top. And the desk is pretty much everything. Anytime you see something on the screen, there's probably going to be a tab. And the tab is hidden functions and whatever else you may need to know. But if you look, you've got the configuration or house, or home they call it. Then you've got gate, dynamics, EQ. These are all tabs. So if I zoom in, it takes you to the tab is what it does.
Okay.
Okay? You zoom out, you can also use these arrows
Bounce you through.
to bounce through the tabs, and you can see the view lights lighting up as I go through.
Okay.
Okay? So that's just another way of getting to things.
Okay.
You
Well,
know,
if you're sitting on the right side of the board, you don't wanna reach, just hit that.
if you're really that lazy. But actually, it does come in handy because I have had mixers, I have had a few of these where like an encoder will go bad.
Right, so you got another way.
And then you got another way of getting to it. You can go over here, and then you can adjust that level from these knobs now.
Right, I know
If
that.
this knob was get broke off or whatever, so you're
Okay.
not, you know. So then, next section is the output section. Outputs of the desk, they give you 8 faders. We've got 4 layers. First set of layers is the groups / DCAs. So you get 8 of them.
Sliders.
It does
of the
not.
channel, okay.
It does not.
So it's very similar to a group on an analog
Correct,
board.
exactly. The number one phone call I get is someone will call me and say, these specific channels aren't working. You know, I've got 5 dead channels. Well, come to find
That
out.
door over there. Okay.
Come to find out they have their DCA either muted or turned down. And that's all, it always seems to be the problem. So like, for instance,
Because those channels aren't going to the mains, they're going to the DCA.
right,
And then-
basically, when you assign something, it goes from here to the DCA, and then the DCA is assigned to the main output.
Okay.
So if the DCA is turned down, you're not gonna get any output out of that channel. So for instance, if I took, just for instance, this vocal and I assigned my iPod to that DCA, we turn it up, we've got audio. But if I turn the DCA down, it goes away. Or if the DCA is muted, I don't get audio,
Okay.
okay? So
It's
that's,
just like our old board.
Yeah, yeah. Now, is there a visual, so say,
to know if it's in the DCA?
yes,
There is. So when you select a channel at the bottom here, it says DCAs, and
Oh,
it'll be
okay,
lit up
there
in
it is.
orange.
all right,
Or mute groups, which we haven't gone over.
Right.
But it's telling you that that one's assigned to DCA 1, this one's assigned to 5.
okay, oh, cool.
So that's an easy way of finding out which one is on.
All right.
So then, the output section. We got our DCAs, which we just talked about. We have the select, we have the solo, we have the mute, just like we do in the fader for input channels. Buses. These are our bus masters. So, you know, you got your monitor sends, which are here for the channels, but this is the overall master volume. This is like the main fader for your monitors.
Okay,
So we got 1 through 4, and these are indicators to tell you that they're set up as a pre-fader send.
okay,
Okay, if that was not lit up, it would be a post-fader send.
okay.
So we're using 1 through 4 as monitors, which we set up. Next 3 we're not using, which they are still available, I just blacked out the screens.
Yeah.
I typically do that on things that you don't use, but you know, you have the function to turn it back on, and I'll show you how. 8 is your record, so anything that you send, so if I went here, and I went here, and I turned up 8, it's gonna go to that aux.
Okay.
Make sense? Okay. So then, next button is 9 through 16. You do have 9, 10, 11, and 12 here. I blacked them out again because you're not using them. 13 through 16 are your effects.
Okay.
Okay? And I'll show you, we'll get to the effects in a minute. Then we have matrices. You actually have 6 matrices. I think there's 6. Yeah, so you have 6 matrices, but you're not using the other
What is
5.
a matrix?
A matrix is, it listens to an output. So you can say, it's sort of like a monitor send.
It's like a mixer. It's a mix of other mixes.
Right, so you can take your left, right out, and you can, you select the left, right out, and you turn number 1 up, which would be matrix 1. And then whatever matrix 1 is feeding is going to get the signal from the left, right output. So it's like an extension of the left and right, okay? But the cool thing about a matrix is it gives you a master fader that doesn't affect the house or anything else. So you can send the house to matrix 1, and you can vary the level. So for instance, we're using it on the overflow or the purple room or whatever you call it. And it is purple.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's almost as good as a cassette.
Oh, man,
Right.
that's perfect.
right.
Just
So,
do that for us.
actually, it came out of the box like that, believe it or not.
It was meant to be.
Right. So on this layer, you'll find that you have your sub level. So remember you asked for subs? This is the level for the sub. The mono out, in other words. So you can do more sub, less sub. That's just the master level for the sub. The reason why I put it down 3 dB less than your mains is because when you sum left and right to be a mono signal, it actually increases it by 3 decibels. So if you were to set these at the same level, your subs would technically be 3 decibels louder than your mains.
Okay.
So we always lower it a little bit.
Now that is,
For you.
That's on that last. It even says matrix 1 through 6, mono C. Or main C.
so when,
Making sure they're right.
for some reason, I want to bring the mains down and the subs together, I push this button.
Right, and
And then
bring
I can bring them
both.
down together.
Right.
Okay.
Or if you want, I can tie this to track this through the setup mode. And when you bring just this down, and you could be on this layer, bring it down, the sub level will come down with it. It's a simple thing.
Well, on Wednesday night, they crank the subs way up and then,
Okay, well,
I'm
they would
working with them on
still,
that,
you would
too.
still be able to do that. I forget where it is, actually. Oh, here
Now, on the analog board, like that row 6 was our subs. Is there the same kind of thing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember it's right here on this
Right.
mono bus, it's the same thing, you just have a dedicated knob
That
for
would
it.
be like knob number 6.
Okay.
Would be
Right.
that.
That would
And
be
it's one
knob
knob
six.
for every knob.
Right.
Okay.
Right, and then you have an on-off button for it too,
Okay.
okay?
Now, when we, can
Now,
we
is that the
save,
on-off button for just that knob or for?
Yeah, just for, well, yeah, like for instance, if I turn it off, I lose the subs. It's just
Okay,
for
so
that
it's shutting
knob.
off the sub.
if you save this the way it is now,
Uh-huh,
and let's say we want to tie the subs together on a different file, can we do
you
that?
can do that, yes,
Like for Wednesday night, we can have the subs separate than
right.
what we do on Sunday.
So here's how that works. I could be in the DCA layer. See, it brought the sub down with
Okay.
it. If I turn that function off, then they're separated, and you would have to go here and lower both of them.
I think we want it tied together, didn't we, Carl?
Yeah,
Okay.
Just
for a while, to make it easy for
So
you.
it doesn't
Can you set
actually,
it up?
it doesn't physically move the fader, but it brings the level.
Okay.
Now, can you set that, like you said, 3 decibels lower, and it comes down that way?
Yes, and it stays that way. So if youth group comes in here or something and raises it for their night,
They can still do that.
they can still do that, and it's still, now it keeps it like this instead of like this. And it still tracks the same way. No matter where, where this is set to, that's where it's gonna track to. We would want it probably right there. Okay?
Okay,
Yeah, I
for-
think that'll work every time.
That had, and we might get off subject here, but that mean, say you made that change and then you shut the system down and then bring it back up. Where would that sit? Would that be the same as when I shut this off?
So the desk automatically saves every 30 seconds, I think. So it saves its state every 30 seconds. Now that state is only saved for a power cycle. So when you power cycle it off and bring it back on, it'll come back to exactly this,
Okay.
where you left it.
So if someone that made a bunch of changes and shuts it off, and we come it up, unless we've saved a starting point, it's gonna be whatever it was we shut it off
Right.
at.
Now
Okay.
there's dedicated memory in there where you can go in and say, save now.
Okay.
And it will save at that point. And then you can make a bunch of changes, and if you don't like it, you can recall where you
Okay.
saved from. Now, the auto save, like I said, is every 30 seconds. If I was to make a change right now and shut it off instantly, it wouldn't save that,
Okay.
that change because it hasn't been 30 seconds.
Okay.
But if I make a change and we wait 30 seconds and I shut it off and back on, it'll come right back to here,
Okay.
okay? All right.
Would you recommend like a master file for Sunday morning? And then like every practice we'd make another file, or how would you?
It depends. I mean, do you guys have musicians that change week to week?
Yes.
Okay.
Every
If-
week's different musicians.
There's a couple ways to approach that. You can save scenes for one band, scenes for another band, but if those bands mix together from week to week and you've got 20 different combinations, you could do it that way and have 20 different scenes, which I probably wouldn't recommend. There's an easier way to do it. So the easier way is I would have a master file. That would be a good starting point. And then you can save an individual channel strip, and you can name it Bob's Bass. And then if Bob shows up on Sunday, you're sitting in the master file, and you go, okay, well, I got to get rid of Bob, or get rid of Dan's bass and load Bob's bass file
Is
just for
what
that
do they call
channel
a
strip.
snippet? Or is it
No,
something
a
different?
snippet is something different.
Okay.
That's called a library preset.
Oh, okay.
So it's a channel library preset. So you
Oh.
can save it per channel.
Oh, okay.
That's the way I would probably do it if I were you. And, it's going to take rotating through everyone
Right, right.
to save their library preset, and then you can always recall their library preset as needed. Some people who use library presets like different guitar sounds have different EQ for the same person. There's different, and the snippet you can use for that too. The difference is a snippet only takes parts of channels
Oh,
rather than
okay.
the full channel.
Okay,
So if
right.
you just wanted to save the EQ only for guitar and name it Bob's EQ for soloing, you could do that as a snippet. if you
Oh,
wanted
okay,
to.
all right.
So that's what that means. So then the next section we'll
Now,
go
what
to.
does the library save? Does it save fader too?
It saves everything associated to the channel, including
So
the
it-
fader position.
Okay, everything.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Where it's being sent and,
Right, and I'll show, we're gonna get into that right now. So, the next section here is the screen. Screen, I told you what these knobs do, and they're also buttons. We have the yes, no, and there's layers. So if you ever see a 1, 2 down here, it's kind of small, that's the different layers. That
Okay.
just means that there's hidden controls
Okay.
for these knobs on another layer, okay? Then we've got the home button. The home button takes you to whatever channel you have selected at the time. So if you're buried in a screen somewhere that you don't know where you're at, you can always hit home and it'll take you back to the channel that you're selected on,
Okay.
okay? So again, if I was to select the compressor on channel 3 and I want to get back home, I can either hit the view button again and get back home, or I can hit the home button to go back home.
Okay.
It's the same thing. Again, 2 buttons do the same thing. Next thing is the meters. Meters just show you, this screen shows you all 32 inputs, shows you the fader position, the meter for the channel. These are actually the 1 through 32 inputs, so my auxiliaries are not going to show up there. But shows you the indication if it's muted or not, turns red. Then this below it shows you the gain reduction for the gate, and then the bottom meter shows you the gain reduction for the dynamics. So if I was to turn the gate on a channel, you can see the gate turn on, or the compressor, which I have no signal, so I'm not going to be able to compress anything.
Okay.
So that's what that page does. Now, again, we have tabs. So if we go over, we've got mix buses. It's the same thing, it's just our output section now. So it's showing you your 16 auxiliaries, your 6 matrices, the mono, the left and right, and then the gain reduction for all those. Because all outputs also have compressors as well as EQ, same thing as inputs. So again, if you were to select the mains for your monitor 1 and you select it and we go home, we have an EQ and we have a compressor for the monitors.
Okay.
Okay. So back to meters. The next one is aux and effects. So that's just this third layer. It's just showing you the meters for this third layer.
Okay.
So you can see that if you mute, you can see. There's no compressors, no gates, so you don't have those meters on the bottom here for those channels. The next one is the input and output. This shows you every single input and output on the desk, all the meters for everything. So that's, right now, that's just showing you what it's being sent to. It's being sent to the effects. It's being sent, it's showing you the input. These are your outputs. It's just every meter for the entire console, but it doesn't give you the gain reduction or the fader indicators. Then this last one is an RTA. And what this does is it's just an overlay of the frequencies of the channel. Now, there's a way to, and I'm not sure if it's set up yet, if you select a channel and you zoom in on the EQ, it's showing you the
So if you
RTA
had-
over the top
if
of
you
it.
want, you could see where
The frequency feeding
frequency
back.
is, and then you can dial in right on
Right,
there.
so for instance, this is a good example right now. So if we go to a frequency generator.
So you're trying to notch it out?
Right, exactly. So if you had a,
Or if you just want to see where that instrument, the frequency of that instrument is.
if you had a 1 kilohertz feedback, you can see it. You can go to the EQ, select the closest band, go to it, get rid of it. Of course, it's not going to eliminate all of it,
Right, right.
but if you had feedback, you're going to see it, and you can pinpoint it with the EQ.
Yeah, we actually had feedback last night, first time I've heard that in a while, but
Yeah,
one
it
short burst and that was
depends
it.
on how good the system's set up.
Probably why we're here.
So yeah, that's what the RTA screen does. But again, the RTA screen's kind of useless because it gives you the overlay of the RTA on your EQ, on your parametric EQ per channel. So you can see. You know.
So you can see in 2 different places.
Right, and the other thing is, like these knobs down here, again, you have more function. You can turn that RTA into pre or post. So you can hear it before and after the fader level. So more functions. Routing screen, something that would probably stay out of, but we have several layers here, tabs. What this does is these will change how the jacks in the back get assigned to the channels.
Like what you were talking about earlier, if we would have put
Right.
8 to 8, but that actually is a different number up there, then we
Right.
would have changed,
Yeah,
okay.
you can repatch things here.
Okay, all right.
It can get you in trouble, actually. So I would probably stay out of that. The next tab is the outputs. So you have 16 outputs, same thing. I can assign output 16 to be monitor mix 1 or
Yeah,
the foyer or whatever you want to make it. So that's what that tab does. Aux out. So you've got 6 1/4-inch outputs on the back that can be assigned to any output on the desk. So you can take,
Back up, can you back up one? That was
that's the 16 outputs, the XLRs.
all the XLR outs, okay.
Right, so you would roll through the screen and it's going to show you, it's going to indicate what it's controlling. So output 13 or jack 13 on the back is connected to matrix 1. Output 14 is connected to, wherever it is, I think it's up here. Right there, it's connected to the mono out. 15 is left, 16 is right.
Okay.
So that's how you would assign them. So if you wanted to change one, you go to the output number, the jack you want to select or plug something into, then you go over here and you find what you want it to be controlled from and you push in on it to initiate it.
Because we're only using one matrix, right?
You are, but you have 6.
And the other are these assigned, the other 4 assigned to anything, or no?
The other 4 matrices,
Routed to anything?
they are not.
Okay. So if
Currently-
we want to add a matrix, we would go in there and we can route it to wherever we want.
Right, so like right now, 12 is not plugged, doesn't have anything plugged into it. You go to 12, and then you go over here to matrix 2, and you push in on it, and now 12, jack 12 is matrix 2,
Okay.
okay? Next one, again, similar, but these are the 1/4-inch outputs. There's 6 1/4-inch outputs on the back of the desk. Those can be assigned to any output. So if you need a 1/4-inch to go to a recorder or something, you can actually,
Those are all balanced, right?
they are, yeah. You can actually,
But there's no phantom power on
there is not. You wouldn't need phantom power on an output.
Okay.
technically.
Well, there's the 1/4-inch inputs too, right?
Right, but those don't have phantom power because they don't have mic pre's on them.
Okay.
So the 1/4-inch, yeah, do not have a mic pre in front of them. They're line level only, in and out. So P16 out, this is something you will use. So this is probably something you're going to use considerably a lot. You've got the P16 mixers up there. This indicates what's going to their 16 channels that they can mix themselves.
okay.
Okay, so P16 out number 1 is currently assigned to direct out, and you got to roll down to find it. Direct output channel number 1. So when they go to their number 1, they have the leader microphone right now.
So that would be
You can
like,
move that.
Direct out would be pre-everything.
Yes. Now, that being said, you have this last column here, which is the tap point. So right now it's pre-EQ.
Okay.
You can make it post-EQ. You can make it post-fader if you want
Put it
to.
wherever you want.
You can put it wherever you want.
Okay.
And you can do that for each individual one.
Right.
It's not global.
Okay.
So, we have not set these up yet because I don't know what their input list is on their mixers yet.
Yeah, he taped them on there.
If you want to grab one, we can do that
Yeah,
now.
extra, didn't he?
It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have one up here,
Yeah.
taped up here so you know what's what.
What do you run now?
So this is
That's,
exactly.
yeah, that's what he's taped on every one of those up there.
They were still messing with it there.
Okay,
Get stuff in there.
so let's go through this. So lead vocal,
That's what you got set up.
that is already, okay. So then vocal 1, I'm assuming is this wireless channel 2?
Yes.
Okay, so that's probably already set up, because from the factory, they come 1-to-1,
Oh,
1 through
okay.
16. So 2, I'm sure is correct. It is.
Well, we can check them wireless right now.
So that's 4. Let's see. Direct output channel 1, 2, 3.
Well, I don't know,
You want batteries?
We won't know,
Channel 4, channel 5. Now,
You want me to
here's-
write those numbers across there? It'd be easier to,
is there a meter
There is, and I'll show you that.
for, okay, so you can look to see if the signal's actually getting to the P16?
Right, correct.
If there's a problem, then
Right,
we
again,
know we're
if
sending.
we go to meters and we go to that output, down here, P16 alternate outputs. So this will
Okay.
show you those meters.
Because we're gonna hook, I got mic 1,
You got Mike.
we
one
should be
right
able to talk into that, and we should see that. that we're
now. Right, so
actually
go ahead and talk into Mike 1.
putting battery in.
Let me go back to this then. So, number 5 is keys. Keys are what channel? Where are we at? Where's keys? Right here, 18. So I would go down to 18, and I would push in.
okay,
So now that's 5.
okay.
Follow?
Mm-hmm.
This one, right?
Go ahead.
Hello, hello,
That's actually
hello?
vocal 1, that's channel 2. That's not the leader.
Right,
Okay,
right.
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
Leroy's
ahead.
got a wire mic.
Talk into it for me.
Hello?
So,
Hello,
again,
hello,
I
hello.
solo him. And I change his gain until we get up to that point. Okay. And now, if I go to meters, we'll see him show up here on number 2.
Watch your shoulder, Carl.
Oops. Yep,
See him showing up on channel
Right.
2
Hello,
Okay.
and his channel.
okay.
Okay? So back to the routing screen, let's finish this. We're on 5. So what's 6?
6 is acoustic guitar
So that would be
in the second group.
channel 19. So we go down to 19 and we initiate it. So then number 7,
Electric,
which is channel 20. So we go down to 20 and push it. And then 8,
bass,
which is channel 22. Go down to 22 and push in.
9 is drum master. Is that the, what is that? Is that going to be your whole drum set coming
He's
in?
got drum master, and I don't think you can do that. I mean, there's a way to do it, but there's not a way to get all the drums.
Well, we'd have to,
There
can
is.
we
You can
take
send
a-
it to a bus.
Yeah, take a bus of the drums.
Right, which will change our
Okay,
input list or whatever. So let's do this. We'll make the drum bus, let's see, it probably should be a post fader. So we'll make it mix bus 9. I'll just have to remember, you might want to write that down. Mix bus 9 will be our drum master. And then we'll go to 10.
You want that post?
this
Or,
extra.
Yeah, because any change, well,
because if we change the house, it's gonna change.
that's true. But the thing is, if you make it pre, then you're going to have to mix it all the time independently, and you can't hear it because it's going to their in-ears.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't monitor the mix to see what
Right.
it sounds like. So if you give them the house mix, you at least know what it sounds like.
okay,
This might be something you might have to play with. It's going to depend on what the drummer likes.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The
10.
drummer usually doesn't put himself in his headphones.
Okay. Well,
So
it depends on what they like, in other
Yeah.
words. I mean,
he might now, I don't know.
right. Did he have a monitor before, like a
Just
wedge?
big
Oh,
headphones,
okay.
and he could hear the drums,
10 is
extra 1.
extra 1, which is channel 24. Okay.
And 11's extra 2.
Which is 25.
12 is the preacher. So that would be on the first one, should be right there,
Number 7.
7.
Okay.
13 is MP3.
I don't know what he's calling MP3.
Would that be, that's probably your
Probably the
iPad.
iPad.
Yeah, let's put the iPad. I'll write that, that's what we did.
5, and I'm not sure.
We never had a spot for the iPad, did we?
Yeah, we did.
But just
Okay.
never used it.
You got
No.
that?
14, he's got,
Ambient mic.
why would he want that on?
Because so they can hear.
They can't.
They
They
can't-
got their,
Oh,
they
yeah,
got
alright.
their things in their ears. They
Yeah.
can't hear
Which is
anything.
channel 13.
Well, they can't hear the booze then.
15.
Is a talkback.
Okay.
Did we
That's
get,
for the drummer.
yeah,
So the drummer can
So
talk.
there's. Yeah, okay. There is a talkback,
okay.
which we haven't even gone over yet,
All right, 16 is a click.
which is going to be channel 15.
Is that the drummer or is that for us to talk back?
That's for you to talk to the drummer.
For us to talk to everyone?
Right. Is that what you want?
So they go in,
Oh.
that goes in their inner.
Yeah, we
monitor.
have to talk to everyone.
Yeah.
so.
Well, but I thought, wasn't he gonna have something to talk back, or is that
The
our?
drummer's gonna have something to talk
He's
to
just gonna have a
us,
mic.
Okay,
but I don't think it's gonna be in the mix for the P16.
okay,
The talkback?
The drummer's
Oh,
back to
right.
talk to us.
Right, yeah, it shouldn't be.
It's just another, basically another mic,
Yeah, it's
right?
just an input, it's like a microphone.
yeah,
Just a regular mic. So, that's what that routing tab is for the P16. Next one is the card outputs, which again is that recording feature for the computer, which you're not using currently, so we won't go spend time on that. AES50A and B is for the digital snake, and the XLR out is for digital snake purposes, and you don't have that, so it's non-functional for you.
okay,
Setup screen has several tabs in it. Global features like showing you the firmware, the sample rate of the console, initializing the console, which will basically restart it. You can change the time from this screen. You've got an LCD brightness. You can bump down to the LED brightness. Channel strip brightnesses or contrast. So next thing is configuration. That's not, well, it might work, but it's got a 90 on it, so it's probably not going to be
Is it efficient?
I don't think
Yeah, no, it's gonna,
yeah,
maybe.
it'll work, but it's just gonna be in the way.
yeah, no, take it out of there.
I'll show you that in a minute. So then remote, that again is this remote for the computer recording. You're not using that. I should go back to this configuration. There's just different things in here to make the desk operate globally in different ways.
Okay.
Like that MC depends on main, left, right, where I link them together. That's what that does. Those are just setup functions.
Okay,
Remote, again, is for the recording. You're not using it. That pertains to this button here that's non-functional.
okay,
Next tab is the network. So when you set up that router, that's the screen you're going to go to set up
With
your
IP
IP. And,
address,
yeah, right. Scribble strips. Now this will rename and recolor any of the scribble strips.
yeah. I messed with that
So
on
you
the
select the
computer.
channel.
So no more masking tape with a marker?
No.
Right.
Darn it, that
you
was so
could-
much fun.
You can change the color. Okay. You can change the name. You can type the name in if you want. It has these little icons too.
What
Which
can't Gordon see? Yellow and green?
someone's
Remember, that's being
colorblind.
recorded.
So these
That was
icons, these icons, I'm not a fan of because
They
when
take
you,
up too much room.
yeah, they make the
Oh,
lettering
yeah.
real small, which I'm not a fan of that. So I turn them all off, but
Okay.
you guys can use them if you want.
Okay,
I think a name would be,
yeah,
Yeah, the name is really more important. The next tab is the preamps. So that's just an indication of the preamps for all the channels. You just select the group of 8 that you want to look at, and it's the same thing as you can see it moving.
okay,
It's just an overall view
Can
of
we
all
move
your
it there?
preamps. Yes, you can.
okay,
So you can see it.
yeah,
both places you can.
Yes. Yeah. And then the card output again is how you assign the card for recording what you're not using.
okay,
Okay. Library. This is where we get into personal channel storing. So if this was a guy's name and you wanted to save just this channel, we would go here to this library and make sure you're on the channel preset. You want to make sure all of these are selected, which is telling you you're going to record the head amp, the configuration, the gate, the compressor, the EQ, and the bus sounds.
okay,
Everything for the channel.
right,
So you'd hit save, and then you want to, right now we're on number 1, so that's why it's showing us this name. We could overwrite it. They give you some preset ones in there, which in my opinion are worthless.
right,
Because their environment's not the same as yours, so it makes no sense to use them. But you would backspace, rename it, and then hit save. So you could name it Bob's Bass or whatever you want to name it.
Right.
And that's just for that channel strip. Okay? So, next one is effects. You have 8 effects in the desk. 4 are actually effects. The other 4 are graphic EQs, like what you had down here. We'll go over those in the next button. But you can, if you like an effect, say you tampered with an effect and you got a reverb that you really like for drums or something, you can save it and say, this is Tim's drum, snare drum reverb or whatever. And,
Okay.
You know, so, but that's what that does.
so you
Then
can save 12 up to 12 of them.
no,
Oh,
actually
it-
99.
Oh, okay, got
That's
it,
a lot of snare drums.
Yeah. Yeah. Each library has a 99 preset.
okay,
So then routing, what this does is it takes everything in these tabs and it stores it as a library file. So the reason why they have that is because, for instance, if you repatch the desk all the time, say Sundays it's patched one way and then Wednesdays it's patched a different way, you can set that up so that you can save, say, Sunday patch, Monday patch, Wednesday patch, whatever. And when you make those changes Sunday, you just come in and recall your patch and all your stuff's in the right place.
Okay.
That's what that does. Effects. So you get 8 effects, okay? To change the effect, you want to use the select knob, and I just did that the wrong way. Right there. This, you want to hit the edit knob. So you select the effect, you can see that it's got a square around it, indicating that you're affecting that effect. And then this knob will change the type of effect that it is, and you can see that it changes when you move that knob. And then to initiate it, you push in.
Okay.
Then these knobs right here select the source. So this is telling you that this effect is being sent down bus 13, or you're sending bus 13 to the effect, and then it's returning back to effect number 1, because this is the first effect slot. This is the second effect slot, so it messes with that reverb and so on.
Okay.
Make sense?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. Effects are probably not something you're going to use right away anyway.
Right.
So, that can all come in time. So then you have 4 graphic EQs set up here. I have set them up so that the first 2 affect the monitors, monitor 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then monitor 7 and 8 we set up because you have that recording output on 8, so I just figured you might want an EQ on 8 for the recorder to sound different than everything else. The last one is your left and right graphic EQ. Now it's a stereo EQ, so one side affects the other. Okay. So when you want to look at these in greater detail, you can go through the tabs.
Okay.
So if I go through the tabs, you can see all the
So
different
you can
effects.
pretty much EQ anything, any channel, any output.
Right. You have parametric and graphic EQ on your outputs, and you have parametric EQ on all of your inputs. Okay. So when we get into the EQs, I have it set up so that this transfers the EQ faders to the actual faders on the desk.
No, okay.
Okay. If you want to clear something out, just hit mute and it'll bring it back to 0. You can move these and you can see that the frequencies change on the screens, indicating which ones you're boxed around, which ones you're going to change. So that's cool. That's what that does. If you change a bunch of stuff and you don't like it, you could go like this to clear it out, or you can hit clear all. Yes, I want to clear all. It'll flatten it all out.
Okay.
Same thing for the rest of the EQs.
Okay.
Now, the indication as to what the EQ is right here. So this is the left and right EQ. This one's 3 and 4 mixes.
Okay, so
Now-
when we EQ a monitor, we're going to be in that page.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, again, this is kind of important. This is a dual EQ, but we're only looking at one side of it. So we're looking at mix 3 right now. If I want to look at mix 4, I use the layer button. Remember, we have the 1
Right.
and 2? That takes me to B, which is mix 4. It's a little extra step. A lot of people don't like that step, but they can only fit so much on the screen. So that's what that does. Mute groups. So what a mute group is remember how we held the button for the DCA and assigned the channels to the DCA? It's very similar. So mute group, you get 6 mute groups here. You can assign a group of channels to the mute buttons, and when you push it, it'll mute only those channels.
Oh, that's
Okay, like the drums.
So, so a lot of people, what they'll
All
do
your
is,
instruments.
they'll take
Yeah, right.
all the instruments, right?
Yeah.
And they'll put the band on one mute group, so when Pastor goes to do his thing, they push one button, it mutes every instrument on stage.
That's cool.
So the way to assign that is, mute group button has to be on, you hold the mute group button, and then you select the channels you want to put in that mute group.
Now, does it return to what if something's already muted? And you mute it with the mute group and then unmute it?
It will, no, it doesn't. It stays muted, and then when you unmute the mute group, it becomes unmuted. It stays always in its muted state until you unmute, one way or the other. So I'll show you that. So to get out of here, to get out of the assignment portion of mute groups, you have to hit the button again to get out. So now if I hit this, it'll mute everything. If I hit it again, it unmutes it. Like you said, if these two channels are already muted and I mute, see how it operated?
So it
Now,
takes
could I
over.
unmute?
You can unmute individuals even if that's on.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes over.
It takes over.
Or you can manually disengage something too.
That's cool.
All right?
So it doesn't, like, stay muted all the time if you had those two down originally?
Right.
So it goes back to...
If those were down,
It
any of
doesn't
them.
remember the previous.
Right, it doesn't,
Yeah, it
because it's
doesn't.
only like 30 seconds, you said, or whatever
Right.
it is.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
All right, so that's how you assign mute groups.
Is there a way of displaying that now?
Yes, if you look at the channel, it shows you you're in mute group 1,
Oh,
just like the DCAs.
all right, cool.
Okay. Utility is functions within channels, or within processes, I should say. So like, if you want to get to something special, like some extra functionality for a channel that's not normal, that's how you get to it. The utility is like the extra stuff that's more administrative than anything.
Okay.
Not something I would probably mess with, but like for instance, if you're selected on a channel, you hit utility, it takes you a shortcut to the preset library. So instead of hitting library and finding Bob's bass again and loading it, you could select the channel that you want. Like say if I wanted channel 23 to be Bob's bass, I could hit utility, and this is the list of channel presets, and I could go down and load it from there.
Okay.
Just another
Just
way to
another
get
way
to
of
the
getting
library.
to
It's
it.
good they got that, because like you said, if a knob goes bad or...
Right. Right, so that's pretty much the last button there. The only thing we haven't gone over is this section. Are they ready?
Yeah, I think, well, for the most part. I was just gonna tell you when you start soon, and a couple
Just like-
things. One is, Jamie's gonna use a wired mic, so we have to add a wired mic to our setup, an additional one,
So you're using
and
your
one
mic.
of our extra
is
ones.
that-
Yeah.
Okay.
We got extra channels and stuff, so.
Mm-hmm.
Give me like 5 minutes. I'm gonna go over this last section. and
Yeah.
We'll be good.
And I was gonna ask too if you're able to put our electric guitarist where he can hear himself, because he was wanting to mess with some of his settings.
The electric guitar,
Yeah.
have him play for me.
Hey Glenn,
Is the electric
Are you
guitar
hooked up?
in? Yeah, it's in 7.
play. You're not able to hear yourself right now, right? Okay, play. We're gonna try to turn it where you can hear yourself.
I got nothing on him.
Let me go up.
See what he's plugged into.
And this is the reason why I use this is if someone's playing and it's the wrong channel, we could see where it would show
It's
up.
coming live, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like our little 3 lights we had across the...
Exactly.
fader.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be watching a lot of YouTube videos. Do you have any out?
I do not.
Darn it.
Looks like our drums are in the right place.
That's a good way.
Of course.
He's at
But-
mic 30 right now.
Yeah, but that doesn't help.
No.
That's
I'd
the
have to look,
reason.
yeah.
Why we don't.
Let me look from
Not
the
a
other
fan
side.
of that. You can tell him what channel to plug in.
Yes, that's right.
We should.
30 sounds right.
What do we have on that sheet, Brett?
Talk back.
No, see, we didn't,
20.
I didn't do anything. He's probably hearing the kick drum mic that I'm messing with.
he should probably be, I should
Oh, and I
pick,
got it. Keep playing, I got it. Keep playing.
what was wrong?
Something they were doing.
So that's 30. That is 30. 30's right.
So he's showing up in P16.7. He should be in channel 7. They know that. Even if I turn this down because it's pre, it's still showing up in the P16. So we don't have to listen to it.
So he's hearing it in his
He can
monitor
hear it,
right
but we
now.
don't have to hear it.
That's good.
Can you, how do we
It's
talk to
recording.
him?
We'll get there.
It's still recording. We gotta be nice.
All right. So, yeah, that's true. So this section, real quick, we got to go through this before we get started. Monitors. You have a pair of XLRs and 1/4 inch on the back for closed studio monitors. So you can put a pair of monitors up here and have level control that tracks from your left and right output.
Okay.
Something you probably will never use. It's mainly for studios. Headphone volume. That's all that does.
Okay.
Okay, headphones on each side. You can turn the headphones into mono if you wanted to. You can dim them down by 20 decibels by pushing that button. So if something's really loud, real quick, instead of turning it down, you can just hit the dim.
Okay.
View gets you in here to assign certain things to different things, like your talkback. This is where your lamp dimmer is because your lamp is in that section. You can turn the lamp up or down. Where'd that lamp go? Not that that really matters, but I'll just show you.
It'd make us feel good.
Right, so the lamp works.
Kind of an extreme.
Raise and lower the.
Okay.
Okay.
A little dimmer.
Yeah. So that's what that
We'll
does.
sleep better.
This is also, you have 2 talkback sections in this area. Talkback A and B. I prefer that you use the external talkback, which is this jack right here. Plug a mic into it. It has an internal talkback right here, but it's like the biggest super omnidirectional microphone in the world, and it picks up everything.
Where's our,
The minute you turn it on, it'll feedback.
we had a mic,
There, I just
This
see, yeah,
right
that
here?
right there.
yeah, we just need there should be a cable.
Just push it right in.
Stick that mic in right.
Right. Yeah, you can't do that. They do make gooseneck mics that you
can
could
try,
do
though.
that if you wanted to.
I could try.
All right. Well, don't worry about it right now.
Yeah,
We'll-
don't
we'll
worry
get-
about it right
get
now.
in
We'll
here
get
in a second.
there.
These are both short cables.
Let's get us one of those. Yeah, it's good. So, the way this works is A and B are both set up to be this same microphone jack. This is the level for the talkback.
Okay.
One of these is momentary. You have to push and hold the talk. The other one is latched, so it'll stay until you push it again. So if I flip my switch here and talk, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, they're hearing me in all the monitors. And they're also hearing me in the P16s on channel 15. But they have to turn 15 up to hear me in their P16.
Okay.
If they don't want to hear you, they'll turn you down and leave it down.
Now, how do
Except
you
for that smirk
assign,
on their face.
Right.
how do you assign your talkback?
So when you hit view, you go to talkback A and B. You can assign them differently. And you just go through the buses
Okay.
and you push in and assign them to the buses you want them to go to. There's also an automatic gain reduction, which you have no control over. 2, yeah, but I'm not loud enough to do it. 2, there, 2. You have no control over that gain reduction. It's just an automatic thing they put in there, so you don't blow people's ears up. So that's what that does. I like to just leave the talk back on and just use the switch.
Okay.
That's
That'll
what
work.
I do.
That'll work.
The next section, most important probably, of the entire thing. This is where you save everything. This takes a snapshot of the mixer. Okay? So we hit view. We have a list of 99 presets.
Okay.
We can either load a preset, save a preset, edit it, load from USB, save to USB, or set our routing for a specific preset. I've already set one up, so Grace Start, and in the notes section I put my name and my phone number, which I normally do, so if you have an issue, you can refer to that and call me.
Okay.
So, to save, you can overwrite over things. So like right now, we're probably gonna we probably should save right now. Actually, before we do that, what did we set number 9 up as? The drum mix?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll, remember how does anybody remember how we got to change the channel strip logo deal?
That was,
Yeah,
Can we go to-
right in the middle here?
Right? Right.
Set up.
And then you can go over to scribble strip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scribble strip.
Shortcut. Hold the select button, tap utility.
oh, okay.
Takes you
That was my next guess. I was gonna go.
I know. All right, so we will make it blue, and we'll call it drums. Okay, so now that's the drum mix, and we'll just set the level to unity. So now, since we made that change, we want to save that, right? We're going to save a snapshot. There's internal memory, and you can also save to the USB. So to save our preset right now, we hit View. We make sure that we're highlighted on the one we want to save on, which is number 1. We hit Save. Brings you to this screen where you can rename it. In our case, we don't want to rename it because that name is fine. So we just hit Save again. It's going to ask you, do you want to overwrite, yes or no?
Okay.
Obviously we do, so we hit yes. It saves it.
So
Okay.
like next week,
So next week you come in and you did all this. You can overwrite if you want, or you can
Make a
jump
new
down,
one.
hit save. You can name it the same thing if you want, or I'll delete it. So we'll say you wanted to name it that, and you hit save. Now it's there. If I want to go back to my original setting, like say Sunday was okay, but I want to start from scratch, you could go here and go to go and hit yes or go. Do you want to load that scene? Yes. Now that took us back.
Yep.
But if I really like that scene that I just saved, I would hit go again, and it brings you back. Okay.
Now, if there's something sitting right here and those buttons move, is that gonna mess up those buttons? Yeah. I don't wanna like say you have something up there, you shouldn't.
So it'll pull the faders down. When I move my hand, they'll stay. But it doesn't affect the audio.
It won't hurt it though.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't. Some consoles, when you let go, they will flash. But this particular one does not. The audio does not necessarily follow the fader. So if the fader was stuck up there when you changed between scenes, like that, it did turn the volume down, but because the fader was jammed, mechanically it's staying there, but audio-wise it did go down.
So the next time they move, it'll come back into a spot.
Yeah, so like if I did that again, here, and I went back, okay, and it stayed. And I go here, it cleared.
Okay, you went back.
So this is probably where we want to start today with them, is this blank scene. Remember how I said utility had some extra functions? If you go down and highlight the scene you want to mess with, you can hit utility, and now you have a delete function.
Okay.
So I want to delete that scene because that was garbage. We're not going to use it. Utility also allows you to export to the USB. So in this case, I'm going to export scenes to the USB. And I'll just hit save, and now it's saving this file to the USB.
Okay.
As we do it.
Yep.
Right now
No,
it's
no, I
saving.
just
Okay,
did
right-
it.
right
Because see, it's
now it
done
looks
now, the
like-
light went off.
So he's playing, he's tuning. We're going to set our gain. We'll bring our fader. Oh, that's a light. So you can see he's coming through the instrument DCA. So again, if I pulled him out, or pulled the, yeah, you're not going to hear anything if the instrument DCA is down. Another thing that I didn't show you is if you mute a DCA,
I thought he said you were
thought that
going to
it
go wire.
I am, but Jill doesn't have a wireless mic.
oh, you remember. So we got this Jill.
This Jill will be the only one who's ever
Evan,
done.
Evan will be-
Where's he gonna stand?
He'll probably be, I mean, he'll probably,
Better start trying to find some channels soon, because that's probably gonna take us a while, I don't know.
Where's, figure out where people are gonna be standing. You got Evan coming in, where's he gonna be singing from?
What?
do you wanna give Ed,
One wireless mic,
Oh.
Evan will be,
Special music, all right.
yeah,
Grab me
do you
two
wanna give
batteries
him a
over there.
different mic?
what?
Do you wanna give him a different mic?
I would give Evan a different mic.
Yeah, we will. We'll get one for him. I'll give you this one for now. Two.
how you guys doing? Yeah?
Okay, this is Jill.
Yep.
We're going to start, we're going to do a traditional sound check from the beginning. So I want to start with drums. So I want to have the kick drum play quarter notes for me. Just straight quarter notes. All right, so
This is fine.
we're soloing
Yes.
and we're setting our level for kick drum. I normally set kick drum a little bit higher than the -18 point.
Okay.
And then bring it in. Okay? I've already done some EQing on the kick